Welcome into Celtics Today. I am Tom Downey. Here's what's coming up on today's show. We've got the possibility of Grant Williams heading to Charlotte, which is, I think, pretty interesting, to put it nicely. Jaylen Brown extension latest. He is eligible for his max deal. We'll break down where things sit on that front. And a Celtics Summer League preview, because the NBA is kind of weird, and it goes right from free agency into the Summer League with no real gap in between. But first, folks, we got 80 new subs on yesterday's video. Thank you all so much. Welcome to the show. Let's break that number. Let's get 81 at minimum on today's show. So if you want more free Boston Celtics YouTube videos, hit that sub button right now. We begin with the latest on Grant Williams, as Michael Scotto reports that the Charlotte Hornets have an interest in a homecoming for the North Carolina native. Now, in general, I have doubts about this going down because they have P.J. Washington, who's an RFA. They got the qualifying offer figured out with Miles Bridges, who will be back at least for one more year. Now, Boston did extend the qualifying offer of $8.5 million to Grant Williams. But the buzz for a while now has been that Williams likely will not be back as a member of the Boston Celtics, that he will be able to find bigger money elsewhere, especially once the RFA market starts to move around July 6th. Here's what Adam Hemmelman of the Boston Globe reports. Quote, league sources, or Hemmelman, said last week that the addition of Porzingis would make Williams' return unlikely. That is what the buzz has been for a while now, that Williams will find a new destination. Several teams have been linked, Dallas among them. They've been making some moves. The Hornets fit, I'm not sure I buy. Then again, they went big at Terry Rozier, which I didn't think made sense, and that's still the path they ended up going there. Williams does offer value as kind of a rotational hybrid wing big man. His numbers this past year, 8.1 points per game. Good efficiency on shooting, especially from deep, 39.5. And the reason why you talk yourself into Grant Williams becoming a big piece of your rotation is the growth that he has shown. Each year, he's averaged more points per game and more rebounds per game, while in general having an upward arc on his field goal percentages from deep and from the field. Now, I will make note that the numbers did dip a little bit from this year to last year efficiency-wise, but not by a lot, and they still went up compared to 2020 to 2021. So there will be interest in Grant Williams, and I doubt he ends up back in Boston. As it sits right now, the current Celtics roster, thanks to the addition of Kristaps Porzingis, and you can get some creativity with your lineup of who starts. Is it Malcolm Brogdon or Devin White? Do you put in another big man there, whether it's Al Horford, Robert Williams, to let Porzingis play some of the 4 instead of the 5, but that might be more your crunch time lineup right there. Brogdon, White, who played a nice role down the stretch this year. Of course, Jaylen Brown, who we'll get to more in depth in a little bit. Tatum, and then Pingus, the big addition for Boston this offseason. So prediction time when it comes to Grant Williams. Will he re-sign in Boston? Y for yes, N for no. This question is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So if an ad plays here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Y for yes, N for no. Let's check in on the latest then with Jaylen Brown, as the Boston Globe reports both sides remain confident a deal will be agreed upon soon. I find that terminology interesting, because this really shouldn't be that problematic of a contract in terms of making sure it gets done. Like, Jaylen Brown is eligible for the 5-year, $295 million Supermax extension, which is just a fancy term for all of the money. And the Celtics, in theory, will just give that to Jaylen Brown, because what else are they going to do? Like, the Brown-Tatum pairing has not delivered the way it needed to the past 2 years. Brown was a bit banged up as well during parts of that. But I don't foresee a better player that you'll be able to get compared to Jaylen Brown. Brown put up 26.5 points per game this past year, 6.9 rebounds. The issue was for Jaylen Brown is, especially against the Heat, when they needed him to take over and become a superstar player, because Jason Tatum was doing everything possible. The supporting cast was not emerging. And especially once Tatum got hurt, that needed to be Jaylen Brown time. And it was not. He kind of faded in the biggest moment of his NBA career, which happens to young players. It does more than we want to admit. But you need more out of Jaylen Brown moving forward. And I do think with what he showed over the course of his NBA career, even though the three-point efficiency has dipped, I would say maybe taking some more contested shots has played a big factor in that. You don't find 20-point-per-game scorers consistently overnight. Like 20, 24, 23.5, 26.5. Jaylen Brown has been an awesome NBA player. And the reality is this part, too. You can still sign him to a Supermax contract and trade him if you have to. It is the level of player movement is impressive in the NBA, maybe concerning for some people. So if the Brown-Tatum pairing fails again next year for whatever reason, you can always shop him and see if you can get something better. Not saying you would, but there's really no reason not to get Supermax deal done with Jaylen Brown if you are Boston. Now, if and when Boston ends up making more moves, we will have videos for you guys. So make sure you are subscribed. Free videos each and every single day. When you hit that big red sub button, don't miss out. We'll have free agency, rumors, news, trade, and some summer league coverage as well. So don't miss out. Subscribe right now. Let's check in then on the Summer League as that begins next week. I kind of hate it how tight the turnaround is from NBA free agency to what amounts to the NBA's preseason. Like, give me a week or two between the end of the NBA offseason, the free agency, the trade stuff, and then let me have my Summer League because a little bit tough to maximize both viewerships as far as I'm concerned. Here is the Summer League schedule as I digress for Boston. Against the Miami Heat on July 8th, the Wizards on July 9th, the Lakers the 12th, and the New York Knicks on July 14th. We'll break down the roster here in a second, but which Celtic are you most excited to see at the NBA Summer League this year? Is it the draft pick? Is it Jordan Walsh? Is it somebody else altogether? Drop that player for me in the comment section right now. Let's break down then this Summer League. Go in alphabetical order. Udoka Azubuike, who the Celtics picked up a couple days ago after he had been waived. He has played some in the NBA. Kind of a hilarious stat line and also indicative of how he plays. 3.3 points per game, 3 rebounds, and he shoots damn near 77% from the field. In case you can't tell, he's a center who doesn't really stretch the floor at all, but he's a big man, and you need big men depth if you're Boston. I'll probably mispronounce this name, but Olek Balcerowski, I think is how it is. I'm pretty sure I got it wrong. There are no pronunciation guides for him, but there's a European big man. Kamar Baldwin might be a familiar name to a couple of you guys. He's bounced around a little bit, college and NBA. Justin Bean is next up here, the swing forward. Justin Champagnie, so there's 2 Justins on this Celtics Summer League roster. Champagnie might be the one's a bit more familiar. J.D. Davison, also a good name to watch. He's spent some time at Alabama in the NBA as well. I suspect he'll play a very large role in the Summer League. He played a little bit last year in the NBA, 1.6 points per game, under a rebound, under an assist, so a very small role. But again, Summer League, lesser competition, more playing time for a young guy like Davison, who's certainly worth monitoring. Other forward, Sam Griesel. I believe that's how that one is pronounced. Then there's, I'll probably mispronounce this one again, so I apologize, Reggie Kissoonlal. I believe that's how it is. Not sure. Again, there's not many pronunciations for some of these lesser players. Mychal Mulder, who did spend some time with the Golden State Warriors, the guard. He's on the Celtics squad. Scrubb, either a great name or a terrible name for an NBA player. I'm still not really sure which category it falls under. Vincent Valerio-Bodon, the forward as well. And then maybe the one player we're all most excited to watch, that is Jordan Walsh, the forward out of Arkansas, who the Celtics actually drafted in this year's NBA draft, since Boston was doing the whole, we're going to trade and not spend any of our draft picks, and then finally took a player in Jordan Walsh, the Arkansas forward. Very curious how much run he gets. In theory, you would expect Jordan Walsh to be a huge part of this Celtics team and play a massive role in terms of what impact these guys are going to end up having in that 2023 Summer League campaign. 7.1 points per game last year for Arkansas, but offers some defense. Can he offer some more shooting? That's the big question mark for Walsh. But that is your Boston Celtics Summer League squad.